God bless our troops. God bless America. And gentlemen, start your engine!
The secret side of me, I never let you see. I keep it caged, but I can't control it. So stay away from me, the beast is ugly.
And we are live here for the Center for CFR podcast. I don't even know what week this is. This is going to be our first brand new type of podcast. We're going to have special guests every week. Hopefully the same panel. That would be even better. Got a panel of two drivers from a very different team. Something definitely a little bit different. Joe Burchett and Jesse Gavey is both here. Joe being from the Wolfpack Racing team, and Jesse is from the AC Motorsports team. Y'all are both here, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, all right. So we'll get this off a little bit different. Bunch of new changes came out today. We'll start off with the first one. Joe, this really doesn't really impact you a lot. However, a new thing came out today, which I'm the owner, so I already knew about it. But however, got with all the owners, made a track change heading this week. We moved Bristol back into the chase and moved Michigan up to this weekend. Jesse, let's start with you. What is your thoughts on that? And then we'll go over to Joe.
Well, I think it's a good move, especially with all the short track racing we've done lately. It's going to be a nice change of pace. I think that's about all I've got on the topic. I think it's going to be a good race for sure.
Joe, what's your thoughts on it? I know, like I said, I know you're not going to be here, but I still want to get your thoughts because you are a in-race admin, so I still want to get your thoughts on it.
I mean, over the last 3 to 4 weeks, we've kind of ran predominantly 1.5 miles and belows, excluding the road course. But we've had a few more cautions that we've been wanting to, that we've had too many that we didn't want to have. To allow the racing to get really green flag and get good racing in, especially in New Hampshire. As the kind of race control and leadership kind of the series, a couple of us were trying to make a few changes to hopefully better the racing, and it, just for the way the week went, it kind of just went the wrong way on us. That was kind of on us. With having Bristol scheduled for this coming weekend, it just didn't look like it would be. It's probably good for everyone watching on broadcast and just for the drivers with putting back-to-back short track races in, kind of giving them a break, let them stretch their legs out and run, big track and a 2 mile at Michigan, where drafting doesn't really come into play to the extent that it does at, say, Daytona and Talladega, where you can kind of get spread out and really get to some good, clean, fast racing.
Well, let's talk about this a little bit. We was at New Hampshire, like you just said, last night, in a total of 12 cautions, one of the most highest caution field races we had. It was a 150-lap race, but we had 47 caution laps. That's a little bit too much. I'm going to be straight up honest from a league owner. That's a little bit too much considered. There's a lot of talented drivers in this league, So we'll continue talking a little bit about what happened last night. Robert Lynn was able to get away with the win. A lot of people probably didn't really expect that coming in. I know, Joe, you probably didn't. Jesse, you're probably another. What was your thoughts on Robert winning? Was you all expecting to see him up front and to win this race?
In all honesty, I can pick person, to be honest, because qualifying was so all over the place. There were a few drivers that were pretty close in practice, but I mean, it's short track, flat racing, so anything really is possible, especially if you start to get into a rhythm. So was I surprised? No, not really. I don't know.
Joe, what's your thoughts on that?
And on that, with racing against Robert all last season as well, and him being one of the final four guys at the championship race last year at Homestead, I wasn't necessarily surprised seeing him win the race. He's a talented driver. He's ran consistent all year. I think he's one of he may be our lowest active
he is with
driver
incidences.
with least incidents. So he keeps his car clean, and he's there at the end about every week. I'm not like Jesse said, I'm not really surprised that he got the win. Same thing. I was a little surprised that the practice times didn't pick up in qualifying as they did. I think Jack was really one of the only ones that really picked it up a whole lot from practice time. But like I said, the race, qualifying into the race doesn't really matter as much on a short track kind of like that. It's all how talented you are, and Robert shows that he's got a lot of talent.
We only had 12 drivers finish on the lead lap. Jesse not being one of them drivers finishing on the lead lap. Jesse actually finished quite a few laps down. I know you're not happy to hear me say that, but what exactly happened to you so everybody out there does know what happened?
Yeah, I'm not really too sure. We ended up having that first caution there, and I took 2 tires, seeing as how we only had 9 laps on the first set we had, so I figured it might hold up for a little bit. And after that second caution, my right-hand side of my quality bar decided to go, and according to the forums, that's iRacing. I'm not really going to point fingers or anything, but I ended up dropping out and going a few laps down. But you know what? I battled it out, ended up with top 15 finally, so I'm still sitting up there in points.
14th place and 13 laps later, which did help a lot. Joe, any problems with you last night at all during the race? I mean, did you have any problems with anybody? And this is one good thing we can actually say, because this is a podcast we're really honest on here. So, did you have any problems with anybody last night? I know Jack apologized to you on Facebook about some bumping that happened, but did you have any problems with anybody last night?
Not really. I mean, everyone basically drove as clean as you can on a track like that, with it being, basically a one-group track. Yeah, there was a few incidences with certain people where, you just kind of would collide, but everyone pretty much gave room on the longer runs. It seemed like from a race control standpoint and a driver standpoint, the hardest portion of the races was all the restarts. Everyone was trying to go for broke on every restart you had, which to an extent, I could understand, because of how the track kind of played out. Once you got into a longer run, it was so hard to try to pass anybody, so you had to get whatever you could so early in the run. So like I said, not really many problems with anybody, really none at all. I mean, the stuff with Jack, that was just short track racing, you're going to bump some, so not really any problems.
That's good. So, from that, let's move on to a problem that happened last night. We'll get Jesse's thoughts on it, and then we'll go to Joe from the race control standpoint, and in general, what have you seen after we've seen it. And then we'll get actually, what happened after, what we did after. Anyway, Garrett Pemberton had a problem last night and was running a very, very clean race until this happened. He finished with 20 incidences. It looked to me like when I was watching him and Delaney Dunn, which finished 15th as well. Decent run for her. She was happy with the top 15 finish. But she went up a little high into, I believe it was turn 2 or 1, and came off the wall and came down a little bit. And then Derek really didn't give her a whole lot of room when she came back off the wall. And then kind of maybe turned right. I'm not sure. Maybe y'all can talk about it. And then right after that, not sure what got into his head. He pulls up beside her and turns her. Jesse, thoughts on the whole thing that you've seen happen? There was a video that I posted. I didn't get the initial wreck before. I got just the contact after the wreck happened. But what's your thoughts on that?
I'm going to hold my tongue on that.
No. This is straight, you can be honest. You can be straight up honest. I mean, this is what the podcast is for. We want to bring controversy to the next race and people and drama, and it will bring that. And that's one thing I want to see. So, don't be too blunt about everything. But you be honest about it, though.
Yeah, it was pretty ridiculous. And to be honest, from a team standpoint, I'm almost kind of embarrassed to have Derek running on my team. just with the way he handles himself, especially if things don't really go his way. So, I mean, we'll see how the next races go. Maybe.
Do you think he was improving? Answer that question. He did finish 11th. We'll talk about what happened after the race, but do you think he was improving before everybody was starting? Was everybody starting to respect him a little bit more until that happened last night?
I don't know.
I know you don't want to be too mean because he is still a teammate in Center Force Racing. I know you don't want to be too harsh on it, but I do expect it. So, I mean, yeah, like I said, do you think he was earning respect from people until last night?
I don't think he was earning respect. He was more or less starting to catch the eyes of some drivers as he started to get some speed, but yeah,
I told you I was going to ask tough questions. No, I told you I was going to ask you tough questions before we came on, so that's one reason.
Yeah.
All right, Joe, I expect pretty much the same answer from you, or I got the same question for you. Do you see what? Of course, you seen what he did was wrong. What was your thoughts on what happened last night with him?
I mean, with the initial wreck, after I went back and looked at it after we got done, I was in front of him when the race was going on, and with being the in-race race control, it's not really any way I can kind of look at anything while the race is going on, so I have to kind of rely on you and Hal. And, y'all think y'all did a fine job with it, might I add. But after looking at it after the race was over, she kind of looked like she came off the wall. There was still a sizable gap in between them. And, I don't know on the initial wreck there what happened. Maybe he did get loose some, and it looked like he was trying to overcorrect. But he did get into her. She did not cause, she was not the cause of the wreck. He got into her rear, spun her, and kind of like Jesse said, I don't really know what was going through his brain at that point. I don't know if he was just mad because he got caught up in a wreck or what the actual problem was. But he, as we saw in the video and saw in the replay of the race, he intentionally went down and spun her out, and which is violation of our league rules, which he did get punished for. But it kind of as Jesse was talking about, as a person, and as a racer in the league, he was starting to improve on the track some, and you could kind of start to see it. He was getting more and more comfortable. He's getting better as the weeks progress. He's starting to learn a little bit more. The only downfall that's kind of holding him back in a lot of people's eyes is his attitude on the track and just him not kind of learning how to, control his temper and watch his mouth. When he's in the race, he'll kind of come across the race channel, server rooms and, just kind of say what he thinks. When to an extent, it's probably not the right time when he doesn't, look at the replay and he basically, I mean, we're being honest here. He'll blame the other person 95% of the time when, if he'll just kind of chill and take a look at it after the race or let someone else take a look at it that isn't racing, that he can kind of understand that sometimes it will be his fault, sometimes it won't be his fault, to just kind of chill and let it, die till after the race. And if you want to bring it up with a, race control or league owner or anything after the race, that's the right way of going about it. But just, the calling out of people over the race servers and getting mad, and especially as we've noticed the last few weeks. I know Jesse's noticed it just like I have, and I think you have as well. He's starting to get quite irritable, even in the practice sessions before the race. So, we've been taking a look at it. Like I said, we're starting to somewhat get impressed with the driving level that he's showing. It's just his attitude on and off the track is what's kind of keeping him down towards the bottom of kind of basically respect of the guys in the league. No one's going to show him too much respect when he wrecks people on purpose and just acts the way he does over race chat.
I agree completely. I mean, everything you said. So, with that said, Derek Pemberton was released today from his contract with my team, AC Motorsports. However, he wasn't really released. His contract was actually just up, and we did not re-sign him. Mainly reason why we did not re-sign him, one, Jesse tells you flat out, he wasn't going to race with Derek the way he acted. And I respect that. And with that, I can't be losing. And another one was Tyler Cox, and we'll get that's another story for another time. But he said the same thing, and I can't have two drivers not comfortable with working somebody because one, their attitude. Derek's shown that he can be good when he wants to be. His mind, his anger problems get the best of him, and I think it really hurts him. And I think it extremely hurts him. So he was penalized 10 points. 2 races where he cannot qualify, plus placed on probation for the rest of the regular season until Eldora. So, pretty big penalty, to be honest. That's actually our steepest penalty I think we've given out, even with Tyler Cox being suspended for 1 race. So, next week we go to Michigan. Joe's not going to be at Michigan. He's actually going to be at Daytona 24, and we're going to talk about the NASCAR thing here in just a minute, by the way. But, real fast, I kind of want to get your all's opinion. Who do you think, besides yourself, you can't choose yourself, who do you think the best driver is right now in the CFR Championship? Anybody at all?
That's actually a really tough question. We've got 5 different winners this year.
We got 5 different winners in 5 different races, yeah.
But just based off of overall performance, I think Rob Land right now is definitely the guy to beat.
Right.
Based off of total top 5s and just the way he's raced, it's just been absolutely impeccable.
Joe, who do you think?
I might have to kind of go with kind of a new guy well, I think he was with us part of the towards the end of the season last season. But
I know who you're going to pick.
Kyle Charpentier. He really surprised a lot of people. I know he doesn't have a win yet, but I think he's got the most top 5s out of anybody in the league so far this season. Out of the 5 races we ran, got 4. So
there's a couple.
He's definitely consistent, and he's going to probably be one to watch the entire season. I would not be surprised if he's so to speak, a Bruno of season 3 of going possibly winless throughout the season, regular season, and pulling it out right there at the end.
Okay, Tyler Justice also reminds me a little bit of how Mike Bruno did last year without a win. He led a lot of laps yesterday, most laps led, unable to get the win though. The guy that I'm honestly most impressed with is Christopher Matthews. Sitting 4th right now, 14 points. He's only 1 point behind Dawson Cook, which is your teammate Joe, in 4th place. You got to give him credit. I mean, he's got 5 starts, 2 top 5s, 4 top 10s. That's not bad at all. There's a lot of other guys, out there as well. AJ Brissett, who won Daytona, is really good. Jonathan Smith, 4. He's sitting right outside the chase right now in 11th place, but. So far I agree with pretty much what you all said for the most part. So, all right, next up, let's talk a little bit about this NASCAR stuff that's going on. I can't really explain it. NASCAR implemented segments tonight. I guess you say today. They implemented them on the 23rd. If people watch it tomorrow, what's your thoughts initially, Jesse, on this new rule that NASCAR actually has set up for this coming season?
I think it's definitely going to change things up a little bit. I'm not really going to comment on it until we actually see how the rules package plays out. But it'll be interesting to see for sure. It's kind of going to remind me of the truck races a little bit, in my honest opinion, with the caution clocks. But like I said, we'll just give it a chance and see how it goes.
Also, they also announced that caution clocks are no longer in the NASCAR Crash or Camping World Truck Series. For this
there we
season.
go. Yeah. So we're just doing a switch.
Pretty much, yeah. Joe, what's your thoughts on these new rules and stuff that's coming to NASCAR this season?
Well, initially when I saw the announcement, I wasn't necessarily pleased just kind of hearing it before I was able to actually watch the announcement and kind of listen to him talk about it. And kind of after listening to him kind of explain it in more detail rather than just kind of reading an article online, it's definitely going to be a learning curve. I know most NASCAR fans probably aren't happy right now. I'm not a big fan at the moment, but kind of as Jesse said, I will give it a chance, kind of let it play out at least over the first few weeks of the NASCAR season, kind of see if it does produce great racing. If it does, then it's definitely a benefit because that's to me one thing. The Cup Series and mainly the Cup Series, I think, has kind of been lacking in the last few years. It's just not enough diversity. It seems like one group or one set of drivers or team or manufacturer kind of just dominates. And I think with kind of throwing that a little bit in there, that allows even some of these underfunded teams to even get a chance at get some bonus points. So it's definitely something I think it could benefit, but at the same time, you never know.
One thing that I found interesting, I was sitting here thinking of this when we was actually talking about it just now. Monster Energy came on board this year. They said they was going to bring the edginess back to NASCAR. That is a way of changing things up, whether it be good or not. Me personally, I mean, I don't know. Like y'all said, we need to really wait and see what happens. The reason why I'm bringing this up in this, normally we wouldn't talk about too much about real racing stuff for our league stuff. However, the reason why I'm bringing it up is because we're not going to change anything in our season this year. If we change anything, it'll be next year. It's not going to be something like that, though. I'll be honest right now, Joe. You're in here. You're aware of that too. We're not going to be going crazy or anything like that for next season. I don't think, because that's a little bit too much, personally.
But to an extent, let me kind of cut in there for a second. With kind of you and me, somewhat running, not really running the league, but kind of behind the scenes, doing work with next season and somewhat with this season, just with the rules package and kind of keeping competition as close as we can week to week. We're going to look at the at this rule package that NASCAR implemented and see kind of how it works. If it does seem like it has some benefits in certain areas, we may possibly take implement a few of it possibly next season. We may hold out and maybe possibly use it for season 4 or season 5 in the future if it does work out. But right now we don't have any plans to really change anything to that certain schedule and that certain that certain style that they're going to go to. It definitely seems like it's going to make the racing a little bit more interesting. I think for iRacing has certain challenges that we just, as a sim, it cannot overcome with the with under 5 to go. You can't go back to green. It's going to limit us in certain ways that we just won't be able to implement stuff.
I agree.
But we're definitely going to take a look at it.
Well, guys, that's going to do it for our broadcast. This is actually almost 25 minutes long. Not bad. Leave a thumbs up if you like us doing this. If you don't, we won't do it. If you do, we will do it. Me personally, I think it's a cool way for us to, instead of typing stuff out and sending thousands of messages each week, it makes it easier for us to do this. I think it gets a lot of people's voices heard. I'm going to try to get Joe and Jesse back in every week. I don't know if Joe will be here next week if we do it because I don't know if he'll be back from Daytona or not. But, I mean, what do you all think of this? Do you all like the idea of doing podcasts every week personally, or what's your thoughts on it?
I think it's a good idea to give people on the outside of the league kind of an inside look at what's going on within it. That are just tuning in to the race every Sunday. It kind of opens the door for them to have a little more access to the league and kind of voice their opinion a little bit more, whether it be in the comments or whatever. So.
And for people that don't know, Living Aquarium sponsors us. Jesse actually works for Living Aquarium, and we do talk about it here and there. We don't really give them as much shout out as what they really deserve because they are a big help. Jesse, tell everybody what it is just in case they watch this podcast later on and new people watching it.
Yeah, absolutely. We're a we're an aquarium box store out of Cambridge, Ontario, up here in the Great White North. We
Do the fish freeze up there?
Sadly, sometimes we do have to freeze the fish to euthanize them, but that's a story for a different time.
Do you just put them outside where it's so cold?
Altogether. We could. Let's just put it that way. We could. But yeah, we're a full maintenance team. So we have about 4 or 5 guys who go out and work on tanks for many different clients. We're also a full storefront as well, where we sell live fish and coral. We dabble a little bit in the freshwater. Not really.
You know, you all have a website, right, coming up, like getting worked on?
Yeah. www.livingaquarium.net right now is the website. We're kind of working with another one of our store friends on kind of opening up the website a little bit more and getting some products online. So
yeah, I will say I'm super intrigued by saltwater aquariums in general. So I know there's a lot of people in the league that race from Canada, and if you want something like that, talk to Jesse, man. Just come in and talk to him about it. And even if you're from the South or in the United States, he'll still help you. Keep that in mind.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got a few contacts in the States, and I know it's a little bit easier to ship things across from coast to coast down there than it is up here.
Yeah.
So most of the time, a lot of the companies will be willing to work and get the stuff to you in a matter of a day or two. So.
Okay, Joe also wanted to bring up something he wanted to announce real fast. So, Joe, it's all yours.
On behalf of Wolfpack, I know kind of news broke late yesterday evening after the race. I know John, team owner, isn't necessarily around right now, but we just wanted to go ahead and announce that starting after Michigan, Robert Land has joined Wolfpack Racing or Wolfpack Motorsports for the remainder of the season. So he will be our 4th driver.
You realize how mad I am about that, right?
I know you guys at AC probably aren't too happy, but I know me, Dawson, and Jeff over at AC are super excited to have a talented driver
I hope
Rob
happens.
behind us.
I hope Jeff falls asleep again, just so you wreck.
Yeah. If something like that does happen, at least we've got 3 other bullets.
Wow, that's all right. We're coming out with one of our own. Don't you worry. We're working on some. We're cooking something up. We got a couple plans. I was actually contacted today by 3 other people that wanted to join AC. 2 of them I definitely know about. One of them is a maybe. 2 of them I'll tell you right now is a no. I'm not going to say no names. But yeah, it's just a flat out no. But yeah, so that's cool that y'all did get him though. He's a really good driver. I mean, I'm glad to see him go to a established team. You know what I mean? Don't know what happened with his. I'm gonna be honest. I don't know what happened. You can't run a team by yourself when somebody wants to run it. Just being be honest. So that's going to do it for us here tonight. Joe Burchett, Jesse, thank you all for joining me, and we'll do this again.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, see you guys later.